Welcome back, everyone. Hope you're doing well out there. I just wanted to do a quick little brain dump video here and share a couple thoughts. And this is going to get a little candid and perhaps a little heavy and a little poignant. So if you're in the mood for an upbeat, simple, solution-based video, this may not be the one for you. This is a little more of a transmission from my being to you about just kind of the state of the world and what's going on and what I think is the way forward for healing, right? So, in this video, I'm going to be talking about why it is that we have such a mental health crisis across the board. And I do think it's very complex and very multifactorial, but I do see kind of a common root symptom or root issue there that I want to articulate here to you. So, if you're interested in finding out why there's a mental health crisis, or at least my angle on that, my thoughts on that, and what we can do about that, please join me for this conversation. Let's get into it. So, like I said, I hope to keep this video short, but since it's brain dump, I might ramble a little bit here, but let me see if I can keep this to the point. Um, if I'm being honest with you guys, my mind these days is a lot on the state of the world, and what's going on politically and economically, and the stress everyone's under, and the suffering, and what's going to happen in the future, and of course all the weird, crazy stuff with AI and technology, and blah blah. It's a mess out there, and we all know it, right? And it's scary and it's hard, right? And on top of this, there was already a mental health crisis before things really ramped up over these last however many years, right? We've seen a mental health crisis coming for a long time, and it's here, and it would be here, I think, without all the shenanigans going on in the world, but also with them, it's of course making the mental health crisis significantly worse. So, what we need as people in the world right now, from my opinion, is we need clarity about how we can heal ourselves. We need a clear set of tools, a roadmap of how to do that, which is what I'm working on here. And we need, we need each other. We can't be just atomized and isolated and divided and really realistically expect to properly heal this mental health crisis. It's going to require all the therapists out there and all the coaches and all the energy workers, and it's going to require everyone taking up their own piece of healing themselves, because that's ultimately where the healing happens, right? And so we need a clear understanding. We need a clear roadmap forward. Uh, we need each other, right? And we need a robust set of tools because shit's getting wild out there, right? So we need some sort of really solid set of tools. Okay, I'm waffling a little bit, minor tangent, but point being, it's real, right? The mental health crisis is real. The problems in the world are really real. And it weighs on my heart a lot, weighs on my mind a lot. I don't like seeing humanity suffer. I don't like suffering myself. I know you don't either, right? So what do we do about this? Why is this here, right? Where does this come from and what do we do about it? So from my point of view, why it's here, I think it's multifactorial. I really do. I think, I keep watching the podcasts and listening to the podcasts and looking at the articles and whatnot. And for sure, a huge part of why I have a mental health crisis is, the internet, the rise of the internet and the connectivity of that, specifically social media. Of course, here in the US, the way the legacy media kind of spins things and the kind of politicization, the making political of, pardon me, of the news, right? The polarization in our politics, right? That's been kind of exacerbated over time. The economic stress of inflation and cost of living outpacing incomes. All of these are major components. Addiction, of course, etc. Right? There's a lot of things, but I think there's something that's really at the heart, at the root cause of all of this, right? And this branches out into social media. This branches out into internet addiction. This branches out into the way media, portrays things. I think the root cause, or at least the root symptom, maybe not the root cause, but the root symptom, is that we have an epidemic of bad relating. We have an epidemic of not knowing how to properly relate to ourselves, or to how to properly relate to each other. We allow all of this kind of shame and judgment based social commentary to just perpetuate, right? We normalize being dismissive and cold-hearted and disconnected and judgmental and shamey and blamey and shitty towards each other and think that that's somehow going to fix the problem. And it's not. It hasn't, and it won't, from my point of view. We have to fix the relating. The relating is at the foundation of how we feel in our nervous system and how safe we feel with each other and how good we feel about ourselves and how good we feel about the world around us and our relationships and our families and our friendships, etc. How good we feel about society, right? How good we feel about international politics and geopolitics and global politics and what's going on with all that. All of that, all of that is relational at its foundation. The human nervous system is organized around being social. We are social creatures, right? We're the way I put it lately is we're pack animals, much the way wolves are, right? Chimps are, primates are. Pack animals is an exaggeration. It's not technically correct, but we are social animals, right? The quality of our socializing matters massively for how we feel and how we see things, therefore, and how we understand things, right? The quality of our relating is so far off the mark from what is healthy for us, for what is right for us, for what we're wired for as human beings. And, you know, side note, I arrived at this conclusion the long way. I've been the avoidant escapist person. I've been the slightly misanthropic, screw the world person, the slightly nihilistic person. I've been the overly compassionate, wide open-hearted new ager with no boundaries who also didn't know how to relate properly in that other extreme. I've been the judgmental person. I've been the dismissive. Of course, we all have, right? Maybe not. Maybe not everyone has been a new ager the way I was, but you get my point. Um, this is so at the foundation, so fundamental, right? If we want to fix the world, we have to fix the way we relate, right? And this begins, I think, first and foremost with the way we relate to ourselves. Because think about this with me. How many times a day do you think about yourself with some sort of a negative connotation or judgment or shame or disappointment or fear or worry or blah, 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 right? How many times throughout your day do you think something negative about yourself? It's probably a lot. If you're like most people, it's probably a shocking amount, right? Now, that's an input back into your nervous system every time you're doing that. That's another wound you're creating. That's another exaggeration of this way of seeing yourself. And you feel that. Not only do you generate that towards yourself, your nervous system feels that. So, first place to fix is in our self relationship because the moment we stop poisoning ourselves with negative thoughts and negative perceptions and negative projections and social conditioning that doesn't fit us and lack of acceptance and all that crap, right? The moment we stop that, the moment our nervous system can begin to heal itself, right? Now, let's then take that out beyond the confines of our own skin out to our just immediate connections, the people you interact with every day, say at the grocery store or the gas station, your friends that you talk with, your family members, your peers at, say, school or work. Same thing, right? If you know how to relate properly, you start to build foundations of friendship, trust, comfort, rapport, respect, playfulness, positivity, good vibes, safety, well being, right? And that heals. That heals the social fabric, that heals your relationships. Now, there's a skill to that, there's a nuance to that. It's complicated. It's not, it's simultaneously very simple, but it takes a minute for us to wrap our heads around it because we grew up in a world where the relating is so out of tune and off the mark. I really feel, honestly, as I've started to wrap my head around this, that humanity has really lost its way somehow when it comes to understanding how to properly relate. Like maybe we never understood. Maybe this is all new and are just catching up to it. But it's something our bodies know. It's something our deep psyche knows and expects. So that's the other side of this. That's the weird part here is how does our body know this and expect this, but yet society has no clue, right? And most of us grow up in family systems where our parents and our families have no clue on how to properly relate or not well enough, right? And so, anyways, I'm kind of rambling here. I meant for this to be a short video, but all of this is to say the reason that you're probably struggling with your mental health issues or a major contributing factor to how easy or hard it is to overcome that is the relating. The reason we have a mental health crisis collectively is the relating. You know, like for example, go and look at if you're not familiar. Oh shoot, I'm blanking on his name. Of course, um, Canadian therapist Gabor Maté. Right. So go look at Gabor Mate's work with homeless people and with addicts. He will, he's very clear that what's at the root of so much of these people's wounds, and we're talking extreme addiction here, is relational wounding, right? Is wounding around just the way they were treated growing up. It's huge, it's massive, it can ruin people's lives. So, this is the thing we've got to get right first. If we want to fix the mental health crisis, we've got to know how to fucking relate properly. And we've got to implement that first. And that will do, if not all the fixing, a huge, huge, huge chunk of it. This means also there is a responsibility, interpersonally between us to either be, are we going to be toxic or are we going to be healing, right? This also means institutions need to relate to us and to each other properly. Media needs to relate to us and to each other properly. The use of social media needs to be done in a way that's proper. The implications of this are big, but we're talking about a society-wide or perhaps globe-wide mental health epidemic. So of course the implications are big. Anyways, I just want to kind of log on here, open my heart, brain dump to you, share these thoughts, because it's getting heavy out there. We need tools, we need answers, we need a way forward, right? I really, honestly, very much believe that. And for me, from everything I've seen, relating is really that foundational tool to get right. This is the thing that if we were all related to properly growing up, there'd be much fewer people struggling with mental health issues, right? There'd be a lot less psycho-emotional wounding out there. So, anyways, I just want to put that out there, get you thinking about this, right? I don't, in my experience, think that spirituality fixes this. I don't think that huge doses of psychedelics necessarily fix this. I don't think that medication fixes this, clearly. I don't think that, all the weird, complex nuances of, certain therapy modalities fix this. I don't think that CBT necessarily fixes this. I think what we need is, I think we're kind of like starving emotionally, collectively, for connection, for safety, for love, for being seen, for being affirmed, and something we can all give ourselves and give each other. And I think that that's what needs fixing if we want to fix a mental health crisis. So, like I said, kind of a heavy video, but needs to be said. So let me know what you think. Do you resonate with this? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm an absolute kook for putting this out? Am I a wingnut? Am I just some strange hippie from America? Or do you go, yeah, I see this? Let me know what you think. I love your comments down below. Okay, much love to you all. Take care for now. I'll talk to you soon.